Hello and welcome back to Bump Love, Dad Edition, aka Baby Daddy Show. And today we are privileged to have with us amazing dads who are going to share with us their perspective on the difference between discipline and punishment. So many times we often confuse the two. We mix up these words a lot, discipline and punishment, but parenting has taught us that even if they are actually related, they're separate, they're different. And if anything, their goals at the end of it are completely separate. In your homes, what are your views on punishment and discipline?
Yeah, the two are different, right? Like you said at the beginning, we sometimes confuse punishment and discipline. So punishment has to do with paying for an omission, paying for an offense. We have rules and you've broken one. So it's a reward, it's a negative reinforcement for indiscipline,
Yes.
right? And then on the other side, discipline is really about coming alongside with the child to help them make good judgment when they are faced with the same situation. So they don't repeat the same thing,
Yeah.
but there has not been force or there has not been some whipping, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up, for example, in an African home.
Okay.
I saw both, actually more of punishment than discipline, right?
Yes.
Because mommy calls once, and if you don't respond by going, then if you're not looking, a mingling stick will come flying at the back of your head.
Yeah.
This is really normal, right?
Yes.
No, in an African home,
That's
a broom
typical.
would, if you never saw brooms and slippers coming after you, then you really grew up in a very, very comfortable environment. But most of us grew up like that. You failed an exam. I never saw a lot of that because I did well at school.
Oh.
I would eat chicken instead. But you've not done well in class, then at school you bring back your report card and it's going to be chiboko, right?
Yes.
Why did you perform like this?
Yes.
As opposed to sitting on the table and saying, this is what has happened.
Yes.
So I have experienced both.
Yeah.
Now that I'm a parent,
Yeah.
I have learned that one is better than the other. And there is a time when you have to they go hand in hand. I have two boys, as you've mentioned. I have caned them, right?
Okay.
Like there are things you do,
Yes.
and our children know that mommy, if it's punishment, mommy uses a mingling stick,
Okay.
and daddy uses.
What do you use? That's what I want to hear.
I use a table mat,
Okay.
right? So we have these
A
nice
table
crafts.
mat?
Yeah, they are crafts. They are crafts. So you roll them.
Brown
you
in
roll it.
colour.
Yeah,
Okay.
you roll it like this into a stick. You want to learn? And then you give like only two, and there will be just enough.
Okay.
Because I remember this one, and they really work. Because I remember this one time
The
when
table mats.
yes, they actually work. So I remember this one time, my cousin is a photographer. So I had so many photos on my phone, and he saw them and said, actually, this would make a very good wall of family in your house, right?
Yes.
So he went and framed them in these beautiful frames and put lots of them on the wall.
Okay.
Grandpa, so they knew grandpa, grandma, these uncles they have never seen. So he would explain to them everything.
Yes.
Then this one day, the guy got one of them, and I don't know what happened. He just smashed it, right? And when I came back, it was the first thing the little one told me.
Okay.
Daddy, Ian has broken
Okay.
the photo.
Okay.
So I whipped him that today he explains to every visitor who comes, do not break
not.
those things.
Okay.
Of course, later we told him why it is not good to
Yes.
break those things. They
Okay.
cost money to do. So a bit of discipline coming in.
Okay.
So I use both.
Okay.
There are things that he has done, and we've just had a guy talk
Okay.
and say, Christian, this makes mommy feel like this,
Okay.
so you shouldn't do it again because it makes them feel bad.
Okay.
Yeah, so I believe in a balance of the two. Of course, the first one, because it's really biblical. Whoever spares the rod hates his children, right?
Okay. Remind me how your
Mike is
children, how old again?
I have a 4 and a 2
A
year
4
old.
and a 2-year-old. Okay.
Mike is justifying the issue of
punishment? No,
Yes, Bazungu call it corporal punishment.
corporal punishment.
Well, from where I come from, you can only give much what you have. People are raising children, people are punishing children the way they were punished when they were young.
That's true.
We should not speed bump about this. The way you see your neighbor treat their children, it's the way they were brought up. Some people beat their kids like Ngaringa Biakasim.
Why?
Because that's how it was groomed. Like
Yes.
you do one mistake, they will
'Cause that's what
some of them
happened.
even throw them to the walls, and you're like it's a war between adults.
Yeah.
So I strongly believe punishments, yes, go hand in hand with discipline. But for me, I have only slapped my son Mandela once, and he was 8 months. He cried, he wailed. We did everything, breastfeeding, what, nye, with nothing. Pa, pa.
Yes.
Poor mwana wange, but he was quiet. So, but I use a lot of grounding. I love to punish them using grounding. So Mandela loves a lot of, there is that cartoon, it's more like a car, McQueen, something of the sort. That's McQueen, something.
Oh yes, cars, that red.
Yes, that red
That
car.
red car.
So what I do, I take all those gadgets in my bedroom and I lock them up.
Okay.
And he must not sit in the living room. He must stay in his room
Okay.
and only read his books.
Ah.
We call him out for food, he goes back, grounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That is
Oh, so
grounding.
you remove privileges.
Yes,
that
I
he
take
had.
away the privileges,
I see.
and I'll say today I'm going with Zaza, and I'll go with Zaza. I'll come back with Zaza with ice cream, and Zaza will have ice cream when Mandela is seeing.
Yes.
Nothing for him.
Yeah.
So now that alone puts him in a level where he says, "Daddy, I'm very, very sorry." If he realizes that I'm still bitter, he will talk to mommy. Nyamboyo genene tata. And Sonia. First thing he does, he will say, I am very sorry that I've done something A. So you know that there is remorse
Yes.
in so doing. When it gets to disciplining him, I usually tell him some things are not known of us.
Okay.
So if he does something, I'm like, that is so below the belt. Gwe Mandela, omutabani wange, gwokoze ekyo. No.
Not Nedda.
No. I even just closed. I don't want to listen. I don't want to talk to you. Like that alone makes him feel like he has lost it. And he'll come and say, Daddy,
I see. Okay.
So over time, I'll tell him, kyewakoze tetukikola nga bakyamagero.
Ndero.
Kyabwewusa kikyamu bintu by'abantu
Okay.
banafu nnyo obwongo buba bunafu nnyo. So he takes it and he says, this we don't do. And if someone does the same thing at school, he'll come back and say, mukwano gwange Jerome yakoze ekintu nga obwongo buba bunafu nnyo. I'm like, iwe tebabikola. So no, he doesn't hit because our approach
Maybe he should.
our approach is that you always look at things, you despise it.
Okay.
And at times when Zaza, the young one, does anything bad and he sees me charging, he protects it. He said, Daddy, can't you get it? He takes Zaza away.
Okay.
Because he knows what is coming. And when it gets to Zaza, I will scout and I will tell him, Oli mwala nesigwe mwala yekali munju muno. Namuchala wange. So behave.
Behave.
And Mandela will come and take her away.
Okay.
So one, I use tough talk.
Yeah.
But I take away the privileges and I build a stronghold of don't talk to me. That is so below the belt.
Yes.
So that alone helps me to discipline them. And it's the same approach my parents used on me.
And it worked.
Yes, my dad grounded me. His approach was a bit rudimentary. He would tell you, go in that corner, tunula mukasonda ako paka when I come out.
So that's
So-
emotional torture for the child.
Yes, I was tortured. That's why I'm trying to make sure that I don't torture mine.
okay.
I am not torturing mine.
Do we know that for sure?
I use the word
I don't know.
rudimentary approach. In his days,
his
he'll
days.
tell you face in that one, and you'll be like, oh God.
Yeah.
But now to mine, I take away the privileges
Yes.
and I build a strong wall between me and him for at least 30 minutes that he feels the pain of not being in touch with Papa.
Yeah.
And when I put it down, he's like, Tata wangu oli mukambwe.
Yeah.
Naye ate nkwagala. And I'm like, because you have to be the man in my absence.
Yeah.
So that's my approach.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yes, like you said, definitely a difference between discipline and punishment. We do both as we were brought up.
Yeah.
I grew up in a home where there was a lot of chiboko, and those are actually, funny enough, good memories. Speaking of the grounding, by the way, I find it interesting. My kids, I have 2 boys and 1 girl. The 2 boys are the older ones.
How old are they?
But what I was saying, funny enough, at
Yeah.
times they prefer the chiboko because it is instant,
Yeah.
and then they get back to
No more.
they get back to normal, and they get back to what they were doing.
Yes.
So they are, at times they're in a situation where you've ground and said, "Daddy, you beat me."
Yeah, but that's what they say about spanking. Even research shows it that spanking or beating is it does exactly what you want it to do, but it's very short term. And if anything, children prefer it because that emotional pain that Mandela goes through carries on, and he's saying, "Now when is this ending?"
I know.
But the Chibok, they know 2 are coming, 1, 2, then they go back to
Instant,
factory settings.
back to normal settings. Exactly. So, like you said, I agree. Spare the rod, spoil the child, but the rod definitely cannot be the only instrument in discipline. You have to talk, you have to engage, you have to do the grounding as well, because actually the grounding is even more of a punishment than the chiboko. The grounding is more of a punishment than the chiboko. But what I try to do is I try not to deny too many privileges. Especially I say, no, get your chiboko, and once you've gotten it, it has ended. Back to
No more.
normal settings. If there is ice cream, cake. So I try not to deny, say, things like ice cream, things like, unless you've really gone beyond. Yeah, but yeah.
And children are very interesting. When you speak to them, they will actually understand. I remember a friend of mine came to office and he said, I during lockdown, that time of lockdown, he said, I have had trouble working from home because I have 3 children and they're all over the place. They won't let me work. And I was like, what do you mean?
Tell them. I'm working.
Tell them. Like me, because of our space, I work in the bedroom. So when they know Daddy has woken up, I'll come, shower. In the morning, I'll shower, come, greet everyone, and we have breakfast. Then I'll tell them I have gone to work. Oh, Daddy, you're working from home, because they know, oh, work is not open because of coronavirus. I'm like, yes, just like school. Yes, when are they opening school? I'm like, when coronavirus ends. And government has said everyone should stay at home. So they understand that when I say I have gone to work in the bedroom, no making noise. I'm on a phone call with someone, they don't have to hear children shouting. And sometimes I will just touch, my mouth like this, and they will run because they know this is a serious time. Sorry, Daddy, we didn't know you were actually talking to someone on the phone. Again, demonstrating, like I think what you said, my wife has this thing she likes to say, the Katagayas don't do that.
Yeah.
So one time we had our first experience, our son throwing rubbish out of the car.
Okay.
Oh my God, he tells everyone about it. Because I think it was about 2.5. We were in Chisasi near the market, and we were coming from church, and the guy threw rubbish out. I'm telling you, we stopped the car in the traffic jam. We both got out of the car and we told them, how could you do that? Can you please go? 2 parents walking behind a 2-year-old to go and pick up rubbish and then bring it in the car. He went, very scared. He picked it and put it back into the car. And we told him, we do not throw rubbish out of the car. Because it's going to be the big man with a Benz, with a big car, Range Rover, he's throwing maize cobs out of the
Namaojolo,
sticks,
out of the window.
and they are flying, right? So of course I feel like stopping such people and or picking the rubbish and throwing it back into their car, right? But he learned a big lesson that we do not. He taught his brother. And also the thing is that our work becomes easier with the young children if we start well with the older ones. Just like that scenario. He explains to his brother, do not throw rubbish. That is going to make you walk back. It's also bad manners. You're going to get on the streets. You understand? Yeah.